Hey, so I am getting ready to finish the rough-in plumbing for my wetland filter, and I'm going to use a bulkhead fitting, which means I'm going to go through the liner. I'm going to make a penetration through my liner with the piping so that I don't have any exposed piping, because I'm planning to use hard pipe, because I'm using a 3-inch hard pipe to pipe from my intake where the pumps are all the way up to the bog. Now, a 3-inch bulkhead, if you buy a decent one, is about $75, which seems ridiculous to me when I think about what it actually is and what it does. Now, there's some features to a real bulkhead that make it worth paying a little bit more than what I have paid for my little DIY solution here, which I'm going to show you in a second. But I'm putting together a 3-inch bulkhead for I think like $9 total, just with normal parts from Home Depot, and then one little special order item that I had to make from Amazon. So let me turn the camera around and I'll show you what I'm working with here. All right, here are the components of a 3-inch DIY bulkhead fitting. And imagine the liner goes right here. These are all off-the-shelf parts, except for this one little washer here, which I'll tell you about in a second. There's 4 components: 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what we have here is just your standard everyday 3-inch PVC Female Adapter. You'll find it in any plumbing store, any hardware store that sells plumbing. You got slip. You got a slip connection on one side, and you got your female threaded on the other side. This is an electrical PVC fitting. It is called a male terminal adapter, and it's used in the electrical field for like connecting to electrical boxes. So it's like conduit. So your wires would come through, and this would connect to a big electrical box where you make all your wire connections and whatnot. Now, why am I using an electrical fitting? It's so it's slip on one side, slip fitting, glue joint on one side, and then your male threads on the other side. Now, why am I using an electrical fitting instead of your normal PVC, your normal plumbing PVC fitting? Well, the reason why that is, I'm using electrical fitting on the male side, and I'm using the terminal adapter on the male side because PVC threaded joints, plumbing PVC threaded joints, are designed for pressure, which means that the threads are providing the water tightness. Okay, and so they are tapered, and the threads are longer, meaning that as you screw these together, this is it's actually wider. A normal plumbing PVC is wider up here and narrower down here. So as you're screwing it in, it's getting tighter and tighter. So in order to use a normal plumbing PVC male adapter for this purpose, you would have to screw it in extremely tight, and you'd probably just crack the fixture because it's not designed to do that. And then also the threads, the threaded portion of a male adapter for a normal plumbing fitting is longer. So you can see you've got this much space, and then this will screw all the way into it and snug up against it. That's not how it works with normal plumbing fittings. It's longer, and you'll have exposed threads, meaning that it'll be almost impossible to use it. So anyways, this is the piece you want. I can explain it all day, but this is the piece you want. You want a male terminal adapter, and it's electrical, but it doesn't matter that it's electrical. It's the same stuff. And then this is a 3-inch rubber gasket. I bought this on Amazon. I think I bought them in a 5-pack for like $5 or $7 or something. I redid the math on this. I think actually this entire system is probably only cost like $6 or $7 or $8. Anyways, it's very, very simple. This gasket is what is, and the pressure between these two is what's going to provide the seal with the liner right here. You make your hole in your liner, and then you screw these together. And I can't do it because I'm holding the camera with my hand, but you screw this together, and this piece snugs up against this washer, and that is your watertight connection. Now, when I'm actually putting it together, I will use this I'll use this sealant. This is what everybody's using in the pond world these days. Loctite polyurethane sealant. It's for roof and flashing, but you know, it works great. It's designed to shed water, so that's what it's for. And this stuff is not actually providing the seal. It's just useful to have for a bunch of little details I'm going to do on my pond. And what I'll do is I'll just put it on the threads here, and what that will do is it will lubricate. It'll lubricate the threads, and it'll also, you know, get on this this gasket here, so that as you're screwing it together, the liner will sometimes, without it, the liner will sometimes want to bunch up as you're tightening it up. You know, the liner wants to kind of twist and turn a little bit, and you might get a crease or a fold in it, which will compromise the water tightness of the connection. Well, this acts as a very waterproof kind of, it's like a backup sort of waterproofer, but really it's just for the lubrication to allow the liner to allow these two pieces to snug up to each other really well, without bunching the liner up. Oh, and you might notice that on real you know, what are they called? Bulkhead fittings. They usually have some joints in them for, you know, they're like the hex, a hex joint, so you can grab them with a pair of pliers, and you need 2 pair of pliers. Well, these don't have that, and I don't have a single pair of pliers that are big enough to wrap around that. But I found a solution to that too, and that's right over here. $5 at Harbor Freight Tools. And if it breaks after 3 or 4 uses, who cares? Because this is all I need it for. A pair of rubber strap wrenches. So I will use these. You know, you ratchet it out, or you put it around these pipes and you ratchet it down, and it loops around each one, and then you turn them opposite directions, and that's how you snug it up. So these will serve as the tightening mechanism to get this to get these really tight against each other. And again, where you are getting your watertight seal is right here at this gasket. And so there you have it. You've got your normal plumbing PVC female adapter. You've got your electrical male terminal adapter, and you've got your, in my case, 3-inch rubber washer. And these rubber washers, I think they're typically sold, designed for like cam lock hoses, you know, like big pool hoses or like fire hydrant hoses. You can get them in any size you want. Sold all day long on Amazon for like $5, $7 for a 5-pack or something. And they're cheap and easy, and this is your waterproofer, and then they're your optional flashing cement. And that's all there is to it. Oh, I almost forgot to mention, when I'm using this solution, I am always putting the electrical piece inside. So this is the water side. I don't remember exactly if there's a typical rule for how you're supposed to install a bulkhead, if the washer's supposed to go on the inside or the outside. I feel like it's supposed to go on the water side. So if this is the liner, the pond is over here, and this is outside the pond. I'm putting the electrical fitting inside of the liner, just because there are some gluing different types of PVC together. So electrical PVC and plumbing PVC. They make transition cement that's supposed to do a fine job. I found it to be not the most amazing stuff. I don't like transitioning between materials, so I'm putting this inside of the pond just because a leaky connection inside of the pond doesn't really matter. So like if a tiny little bit of water gets out, who cares, because it's inside the pond. In fact, in my case, I'm not even gluing any of my in-pond plumbing fittings, because I'm planning to change some of them later down the road when I make future additions and changes, and I want it to be easy. And there won't really ever be much, these are open systems, right? They never experience deadhead pressure, so they're very low PSI. There should be very little leaking. But anyways, just as an added safety factor, I put this inside the pond so that when I'm transitioned back to my normal PVC plumbing that comes out, here inside of the pond to get where it needs to go, I don't have to worry about the quality of that seal. Whereas on the outside of the liner, I'm just doing, I've got plumbing PVC to plumbing PVC, and that's just a normal glue joint. All right, and here is that bulkhead installed in my liner. I couldn't get a video of me actually doing it because it was just way too awkward even without the camera. You can see a little bit of that roofing sealant, now known as pond sealant, kind of squeeze out around that gasket. And then on the other side, the liner over here, in case anybody's wondering, yeah, this is not an EPDM liner. This is an RPE liner, reinforced polyethylene. It's actually stronger than EPDM in terms of puncture resistance, but it does not stretch like EPDM does. And here's the other side with the female coupler coming out through the liner and the underlayment. And then I've got my 3-inch plumbing glued on this side out to there, and I've just got a cap on the end of it so that I can fill this up and test everything to make sure there's no leaks before connecting all the rest of the plumbing.